Welcome back to Debate Night with me, your host Mohammed Shafiq, live from our studios in Blackburn. We are taking the live calls on 01254 277 370. The football has now finished. It's Barca, it's Bayern Munich versus Chelsea in the final. And so you've got no excuse now. Pick up that phone, talk to the local candidates are here representing the various parties. Last week we had the Conservative Party, this week we've got the Liberal Democrats. Kadhim, I mean, obviously you may have a lot of people from your patch in Keighley Central watching this. What are your local priorities for your election?
My personal priority is education. And I have actually, Shafiq, made a pledge in my public meeting there that I have said, because we will be in control, the education from Serco has gone into the Bradford Council's control. When nationally the results were going up, unfortunately in Bradford they were going in a different direction. And it's a key. Education is the key. And I've made the pledge in 4 years' time, if there is no change in the education achievement, I will not come before the voters again.
Wow, that's the first time I've ever heard a politician say that.
And I'm saying is, I will make sure that I challenge the channels and make sure in one particular school there, which the progress is dismal, unless the improvements are made, and I make sure those improvements are made, and we will put factors in place to ensure that the achievement, because we already failed a generation. We don't want actually to fail another generation, Shafiq, and this is my personal pledge.
Well, you don't often hear it from politicians, so hats off to Kadhim Hussain there for making such a forthright policy pledge. We don't often hear that from even general election candidates. So, and we here on my channel will keep him. We'll keep an eye on Kadhim and Keighley Central to see actually if that happens. Let's go to Bradford and talk to Adam. Assalamu alaikum, Adam.
Wa alaikum salam.
What would you like to say today, sir?
I've just got a question for the Labour candidate.
Can you speak up, sir?
I've just got a question for the Labour candidate.
Yeah.
That where was the Labour Party when this by-election was going on? Especially Imran Hussain, why didn't he come onto the media when the by-election was going on? Because we didn't hear none of the Labour Party pledges. We didn't hear that they've done anything about the whole or anything. Do you get me? So where were you then? It's all right saying it now that, oh yeah, George Galloway, he just bigged himself up and this and that. But no, where was the Labour Party?
Okay, thank you very much, Adam. There. The question is, where was your candidate?
Yep.
He didn't even have the decency to come here on Ummah channel and speak to the viewers of Bradford West. As you can see, there's loads of viewers from Bradford West who ring our shows. And Mr. Hussain wasn't available to come on. He wasn't even available to talk to us at all.
I think, Shafiq, you have to ask the candidate, actually. I mean, I can answer for that. But I think also part of the question was, where was I also there? But I can tell you that I was in Keighley Central fighting for my constituents very hard, working for them. And I will continue to work for them. What happened, as I say, in Bradford West is history. We need to learn a lesson from that.
It was the night that I was on your show, actually, wasn't it, Mohammed? You was constantly trying to ring him, wasn't you, throughout the hour that I was on, and eventually he turned the phone off, didn't he? You got a bit fed up with your calls.
I think listen, I don't think we need to go back. The fact is, we need to learn a lesson from it.
If you want to learn lessons, you've got to learn the lessons.
We are actually.
Do you think there was a sense of arrogance and of entitlement?
Well, no. From party perspective, we are looking into the issue to try to find out. It's not simple as that, Shafiq. There are a number of complex issues we need to look at. Okay. We need to look at actually why, and which, from my personal perspective, I'm talking personally here, why we didn't challenge George Galloway on the issues. He talked about the war, he talked about, you know, what happened 12 years ago, but has he given indication to people of Bradford what is he going to do for education? Has he told them what he's going to do for unemployment? Has he told them what he's going to do in terms of economy? You know, it's a one-man show.
You didn't challenge him on the issues because you wouldn't share a platform with him, so how could you challenge him on the issues?
Okay, gentlemen, let me just take one more call and then we'll come back to this very heated debate here in the studio. Ali is in Bradford. Good evening, Ali.
Good evening, Shafiq. How are we doing?
Good, thank you. Go ahead. What's your comment or question?
I'd just like to ask Dawud Islam, is he going around asking vote from his brother? Because a lot of George Galloway's are going around saying, you're from my brotherly, can you vote for me? I thought George was trying to get rid of this brotherly system.
Well, that's certainly not happening to my knowledge, and it's certainly not happening in Clayton and Fairweather Green. Obviously, I've been focusing full on my election campaign, so I can't comment on what's been happening elsewhere.
Do you want to go down?
We certainly are against the Bradbury system where it's used in a negative way. I think there's talk about Bradbury, and the system itself, you know, is something that can be used for the good of community. So we don't want to actually tarnish the word Bradbury, because it's become almost a bit of a swear word in an electoral context, and I don't want to do that, because the word Bradbury is actually a community system, yeah? But when used in an electoral sense, it's totally wrong that a person's father, brother, husband, in particular husband, that's an important one, is telling other members of that family how to vote. And we saw during the Bradford by-election, for the first time, large groups of young people, but especially women, finding political empowerment for the first time. And I hope that people of all democratic parties would welcome the engagement of Muslim women in particular into the political system, because they do have a voice, they deserve to have a voice, and that voice should be heard, and it's been trapped within the boundaries of Bradbury for far too long now in Bradford. We want to break free of it.
Okay. Let's get Ali back in. Ali, do you want to come back in?
Yeah, can I just say something about Dawud? You want to ask your candidates in Manningham, Heaton, they're going round and saying, you're from my brotherly, you should be voting for me.
I mean, I've not been following the campaign in Manningham. Yeah. I find it very unlikely that's happening, because I know the candidate concerned, and I'm sure that he or any of his team are, you know, conducting their affairs in the way that I would expect them to be doing, which is knocking on people's doors, putting across the issues,
Thank you very much
and hoping to get a response.
To Ali there from Bradford. We were talking about local issues. You've addressed one of your local issues. Councillor Paul Brand, to you, I mean, what sort of things are you standing on in this local election? What sort of pledges are you giving to Darwin?
Well, our pledge is dead easy. It's the services. What we're missing in Blackburn with Darwin through this Labour-controlled council. They haven't a clue how to run this town hall, personally. All they're doing, every time they go to a council meeting, I don't care who it is, from their leader down to their deputy leaders, they're blaming the coalition government all the time. Nothing else, just blaming the coalition government.
Because you have cuts coming from them, isn't it?
Okay, well, Syed Naqvi is asking a question about, Paul, you said you had 6 councillors in Blackburn, and then 4 of Asians went over to Labour. So this time, have they got any still Asian candidate or white candidates? Well, they're not standing much candidates in Bradford Central. I think you're only standing in Blackburn Central. You're only standing 1 candidate in the inner city area of Blackburn. So that's your answer there. Let's go to Birmingham and talk to Shahid. Assalamu alaikum, Shahid.
Walaikum assalam, Shafiq, and salam to your panel as well.
Alaikum salam.
Yeah, hello?
Hello.
Yes, we
can hear you.
Oh, you can hear me, right? Okay, Islam to your panel. I've just got a few points which I want to arise, please. The first one, going back to the gentleman speaking about the Bradbury, I think the Labour Party started this Bradbury system whereby not just in Birmingham, in the whole of the country, where they are basing their politics on Bradbury system, and I think this issue now is coming out day after day. People are sort of getting alert about this issue, because let's be honest about it, in the Labour Party you have tens of thousands of candidates or supporters or voters. Why does it have to be when a father is a councillor, the next seat is automatically going to the son, to the daughter, to the niece, to the nephew? Why? So this is clearly indicates that there are many people in the party who want to stand as candidates from all ethnic backgrounds, but no, the system is that if it's a father, if it's a grandfather, it's got to be son, if it's a son, it's got to be the grandson. So I think to my brother from the Labour Party, he knows this very well, that Labour Party started the Bradbury system and they continue to go ahead with the Bradbury system, and I support the gentleman, is it Mr. Ken on the left-hand side, we can see it on the screen, about the Asian voters, because they have been poisoned by the Labour Party and the policies that they do. And I think people are not going to be fooled for any longer. Enough is enough, and people now know exactly which way they're going to vote and who they're going to vote. I think Labour has had its days. For many years, it was fine for them. But now people have been alert and they know exactly what's going on. That's point number one. Point number two I want to make is we all know this, and a lot of people do know this, that a lot of the councils in the UK have frozen the council tax, and especially the Lib Dems have been on the front row of freezing the council tax for many councils and many residents. In Birmingham, there's been in a meeting, it was by the leader of the Birmingham, Albert Bull, who suggested that our council tax is artificially low. In other words, what he's trying to say that it's going to be raised or might be raised. I mean, this is my personal opinion, 23%, which means that £256 or more people will have to pay on the council tax. So when they say, oh, the Labour Party is dealing with the local issues and they're supporting the local people, they're absolutely doing nothing in that sense. And the other point I want to make sure...
Okay, thank you very much. I think you've had a very good run at the middle there. You've had two very detailed points. Thank you so much for joining us there, Hussein in Bradford. We've got loads of call waiting, and I've got loads of Facebook, Twitter messages I want to get through to tonight. Matthew Ferrari says the Liberal Democrats have totally failed to convince either the public or the NHS staff on the need of change. This is pretty shameful for the coalition government. They're just saving. Labour's problem was bringing the whole of Europe to England.
It wasn't Labour actually, it was the Conservative actually that went into the Europe actually. So
no, I think he's talking about enlargement of European Union, where you allowed free movement of people from Poland.
Once you've gone into Europe and you want to actually create the community, it's a European community, then you want to have those countries in there. And I think you're right, there is an issue, but again the Lib Dem and Conservative coalitions, they do play the right-wing card actually, and they focus on immigration, which is they're ignoring the issue which is at the doorstep again, the European migration community.
No, but let's be honest, on the doorstep people are talking about immigration.
Precisely, well, yeah.
And you're talking about immigration.
Yeah, I'm not saying that.
So you're saying that immigration is not a problem?
No, you're missing. What I'm saying is that the coalition, they focus on immigration on the third world countries, which is only less than 25,000 per year, but they're ignoring the problem, which is at the doorstep.
I've got one more question for you. Let's take a call. Let's go to Bradford again and talk to Irfan. Assalamu alaikum, Irfan.
Welcome, Salam Shafiq Saab. How are you today?
I'm very good. Go ahead. What's your question or comment, please?
Yeah, I've got a number of comments. The first being going towards the Labour candidate you've got on the panel today. Not a personal dig at him as such, but more of a bit of advice to the Labour Party. Obviously from the by-elections, which is obviously in the past now, but I think what really needs to happen from these by-elections, I think he's already mentioned.
Okay, well, Irfan, we're having a problem in the studio actually hearing what you're actually going to say. So whilst our team behind the scenes comes and sorts that out, we're not very clear making out what you're actually saying. So stay in the line. And
okay.
That's better.
That's better.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, perfect. Yes.
Loud and
Go
clear.
away. Fire away. Sorry.
Okay. Well, what I was saying is that I don't want to make any personal dig at the Labour Party, but a bit of advice to the Labour Party is that there seems to be an issue and a kind of concern within Bradford at the minute with the type of councillors and the type of politicians they have in place within the Labour Party. I would go as far as to say that some people have a big issue with a number of their councillors that they've got in certain areas. I think more recently one of their councillors has been actually suspended, and if the Labour Party candidate could actually share that with you, it'd be very good as to why he has been suspended. And if he can't share it, could Dawud possibly share why the actual councillor was suspended? And going on to the other point that Colin made earlier on with regards to the Respect Party councillors standing in Heaton and the Manningham going for the Baradri sort of campaign, I think that's complete nonsense, because I'm actually from Heaton and I've been following the Respect candidates. I'm not a member of Respect Party by any stretch of the imagination, but they've been knocking on lots of people's doors, and I've never heard them once mention any Baradri whatsoever, so I think that was complete nonsense, and I think that person was coming from a different angle.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Irfan Day. I'm sorry,
if I can just respond to...
I will in a second. We're cutting you off because we've got quite a few number of calls left, and we've got about 40 minutes of the show left. This is the question. The first question was to you about Imdad Hussain, who is a Labour Party councillor who's been suspended from your party.
Shafiq, I think because the matter is sub judice.